Hello friends. Today's video is not going to be super fun, but it's a topic that kind of has started to mean a little more to me. The more I give it thought, the more it kind of weighs on me. And so I think it's necessary to talk about. Factory farming basically is the topic. And the other day I was just like, it's almost weird admitting this on the internet, but and I don't really know what came over me, but I was just sort of thinking about it a little too intensely, and I almost started crying just because of how horrific it is. I mean, I've seen some stuff that I don't even want to talk about because of how terrible it is. If you've done any research on factory farming whatsoever, you know that it's truly terrifying. The amount of suffering that these animals have to endure for our own pleasure is it is truly evil. And out of a lot of things in our time that are evil, I think that there are very few things that compare to the evil that this is. Really what I wanted to get at in this video is that I think a lot of people have this really wrong. They think that this is just like a personal choice that we're making. It's on us to just change the things that we eat. And that cannot be further from the truth, I think. There is some merit to that, but I think that in general, the problem is that we live in a system that allows for this. A system that not only allows for it, but almost encourages it just by its very nature. We live in a system the system of capitalism, and by extension the state, that only values profit over any sort of ethical concerns, right? That's the problem. And I see a lot of people who, just average people who have enough empathy to understand how terrible this is, but they can't really, or they haven't gone the extra step to understand that it is the system of capitalism that is allowing for this, and that is the enemy. If you truly want to save these animals and to decrease this horrific suffering that's going on, you would be against capitalism. And really a problem is that our society, the production of the resources that we need to live, is so far separated from us as people. And this is a main issue, because that's how you get these horrible systems of food production, but then people can just go about their everyday lives as if it's not happening, because it's in the back of their minds. And that's how in general this system that we live in gets away with a lot of the horrible things that it does, right? I mean, prisons, the horrible things that happen in prison, that's just in the background. And for the average everyday citizen, you don't have to think about that. You don't have to look at that, right? And it's the same with factory farming. It's just in the background and people don't have to think about it. Whereas we should live in a system where communities themselves are self-sustaining and self-governing, but and that would allow for the communities to very effectively manage how they're doing things ethically. It's not a surprise that now that you've completely separated the everyday life of people and the production apparatus that maintains their luxuries that they enjoy, that then that production is able to basically just do whatever it wants to. We can't pretend like there's any black and white here. The stuff that goes on in factory farming is it is 100% evil. And in general, this wouldn't be happening if we didn't have a system that builds itself so much around these luxury items. We do not need meat production on this scale. We don't. It is a luxury. We like the society we live in because we have all these great luxuries that we enjoy, but they come at a cost, a really great cost, a grave cost. And that's the thing that people don't really understand. It may be the case that there will come a time where you have to give up a lot of the luxuries that you enjoy. You may have to do that, but that's because they are evil. That's because they are built upon exploitation. And we can't just go about our lives blind of this exploitation that is happening just because we like having these things. I would much rather live in a world where my general quality of life is a little bit not as good if I can know that these horrible things aren't happening all over the place. And I would think that everyone would want that as well. Maybe not in the culture that we live in right now, but eventually I hope that we can get to that place. And really, again, the message I'm trying to send out here is that we can't pretend that this is an issue of personal choice. It's an issue of overarching systems that dominate our spiritual and ethical well-being as people. And once we get rid of those systems and we organize our society in a different, more ethical way, more local, community-driven way, the world will be a lot better, a lot better. And that's the goal that we need to be working towards. If you are against factory farming specifically, you need to be thinking much more about these sort of things. Even if you are not sympathetic at all right now to socialism, anarchism, that sort of stuff, communism, I at least encourage you to give it some thought, because if you truly care about this, there's a lot that we need to be doing, and it goes a lot deeper than just policy changes. It is the very heart of this system that we live under that allows for this. So that's my message for the day. I hope that it resonates with some people. And I thought it just important to share because it weighs on me a lot. And I imagine it weighs on a lot of people. It's not something that is even comprehensible to some degree. So I'll leave it there, and I'll see you in the next video.